Have you ever stopped to think about the incredible complexity behind the genetic origins of East Asian peoples? Chinese, Koreans, and Japanese share cultural and physical traits that intrigue the world. But do these similarities go beyond appearance and culture? Is there a deep genetic connection that makes them brother peoples? And if so, what ancient mysteries do these lineages hold across millennia? Today we will dive into genetic science to uncover the answers behind this fascinating question. The history of human genetics is complex and full of twists and turns. In the case of East Asia, evidence points to a common ancestry rooted in the Neolithic farmers of the Yellow River, a civilization that shaped the genetic foundation of these peoples. Studies indicate that about 77% of Chinese and Korean DNA comes from this ancient population, while the Japanese share approximately 61% of this heritage. This shows that while there is a common origin, significant genetic differences have developed over time. But what makes these peoples genetically unique? China, one of the world's oldest civilizations, boasts an impressive genetic diversity. In addition to the DNA of Yellow River Neolithic farmers, the Chinese also have a strong genetic influence from Southeast Asian farmers, representing about 33% of their genetic makeup. This factor distinguishes them from Koreans and Japanese, connecting them to South Asian populations and highlighting the impact of migrations throughout history. Another interesting factor is the expansion of the Han Dynasty, which played a crucial role in spreading Chinese genes across vast regions of Asia. Han culture, along with its genetic characteristics, influenced various ethnic groups, promoting genetic mixing that shaped today's diversity. Ancient trade routes and military expeditions also played a significant role in spreading genes, further connecting the East Asian peoples. On the other hand, the Japanese possess a unique genetic heritage linked to the Jomon people, an indigenous population that inhabited the Japanese archipelago thousands of years ago. The Japanese have about 18.8% Jomon DNA, which genetically sets them apart from the Chinese and Koreans. This Jomon influence is a hallmark of Japanese genetic identity and contributes to distinct cultural and physical traits seen today. The Jomon culture introduced rudimentary agricultural practices and a deep connection with nature reflected in Japanese spiritual beliefs to this day. The Koreans, in turn, share many similarities with the Chinese but have a crucial difference. The presence of DNA from the hunter-gatherers of the Amur River Basin, representing about 17% of their genetic makeup. This component connects them to native populations of Siberia and Mongolia, making them genetically unique compared to their East Asian neighbors. The influence of the Amur River is responsible for characteristic traits that shape Korean identity and differentiate them from the Chinese. Another interesting point about Koreans is their relative genetic homogeneity, a result of a history of geographic and cultural isolation. Despite Chinese influences, Koreans developed a unique identity, reinforced by a distinct language and enduring traditions. By analyzing these genetic origins, we realize that the history of East Asia is an intricate web of migrations, cultural interactions, and environmental adaptations. Genetics reveals that, despite similarities, each group followed its own evolutionary path, shaped by distinct geographic and historical factors. The mountainous terrain of Japan, for example, favored isolation and the preservation of unique traits, while China's vast plains allowed for broader and more constant mixing. The Bible teaches us that we all come from the same Creator, And this genetic connection among East Asian peoples reminds us that, regardless of superficial differences, we share a common history. Just as God scattered the people at the Tower of Babel, leading to the formation of nations, we can see in genetics the evidence of this divine dispersion. Another interesting aspect is how these genetic connections are reflected in the culture, traditions, and even spirituality of these peoples. Ancestral influence shapes not only physical appearance, but also values, beliefs, and social behaviors. In Japan, Jomon culture influenced unique spiritual and artistic practices, while in China, vast genetic diversity reflects the richness of philosophies and religious traditions that have lasted through the centuries. Genetic science allows us to better understand human origins and recognize that we are more interconnected than we imagine. When we look at East Asia, we see brother peoples who, despite their cultural differences, share deep roots that unite them as part of the same human history. And so, we can reflect on how our own origins surprisingly connect us to different peoples around the world. The quest to understand our genetic origins is a fascinating journey that reveals not only who we are, but also how we have been shaped by the forces of history, geography, and even spirituality. What more can we discover about ourselves by exploring the mysteries of DNA? Advancements in genetic science continue to unveil new information about human history. Recent studies using advanced DNA sequencing techniques have provided a deeper understanding of the connections between East Asian populations and other peoples around the world. These discoveries are helping us build a more accurate narrative of how humans migrated and adapted to different environments over millennia. Genetics can also help unravel mysteries about hereditary diseases and biological adaptations that have emerged over generations. By analyzing DNA, scientists can better understand which genetic factors influence longevity, disease resistance, and even cognitive traits that differ between East Asian peoples and other global populations. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more revealing videos like this one. May God bless your journey of knowledge, and see you in the next video.